Everyone, welcome to the news in details. Now, on Sunday, the Eastern Province commemorated the stuff of what used to be the prefectures of Kibungo and Byumba and the sub-prefectures which were merged into what is now the Eastern Province. Now, during the commemoration ceremony, leaders were called to unite residents and strive to assist them because that is their primary responsibility. Olive Nete has this report.
Mary Grace Muteteri survived the genocide against the Tutsi in the Eastern Province. She says that in that province, as well as other parts of the country, torturing and injustice to Tutsi started a long time ago. Gatare wrote a dismissal letter with the motive that in the mining sector of Musha, there were many Tutsi working there. So he said I shouldn't keep working there. The white man implemented the decision and I spent 6 years jobless. The testimony that Muteteri shares with many others who survived the genocide against the Tutsi reflects the joy that Rwanda has good governance that promotes the well-being of the resident and thus motivates survivors to rebuild themselves. Now we are content because we are alive. I think that we are in the additional years of living. And there is a reason to why we survived. We were able to have children of our own. I got married to one of the soldiers who were in the Inkotanyi. We have 4 kids, 2 boys and 2 girls. Our firstborn is now a graduate. I thank the President of the Republic as well as the RPF Inkotanyi. Emmanuel Gassana, the governor of the Eastern Province, notes that leaders are called to serve the citizens and be exemplary instead of misleading them, as it has been the case with the previous bad leadership that led Rwanda to the genocide against the Tutsi.
We have to build up those administrative levels in different ways, in different stages, from the level of the province down to the settlements, so that the authorities can understand the policy and also have the knowledge and capacity required to train others.
The Minister of Education, Dr. Valentine Uwamaria, who joined the residents of this province in the commemoration program, specifically called on the authorities to dedicate themselves to the residents as it is their primary responsibility. We have to remember that the execution of the evil plan of the genocide against the Tutsi was carried out by those who had responsibilities like us today. I call upon those who are leaders of communities in different levels, live to unite citizens, understand and resolve conflicts, be vigilant, and avoid divine punishment that can come from not performing well your responsibilities. The known number of workers of the former prefecture, sub-prefectures and communes, which are now part of the Eastern Province, who were killed in the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, is 41. Olive Nete, RTV News.
Survivors of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in Nyarugenge district point out that there are still bodies of genocide victims that have not been given a decent burial due to people that continue to hide where they are. Now, the Deputy Speaker of the Parliament says that hiding this information hampers the process of unity and reconciliation. Camp Kigali in Nyarugenge district was formerly a military base. Those that live near it say that during the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, they suffered as soldiers joined by the Interahamwe killed the Tutsi in the area using terrible methods. This is where the people of Nyarugenge district commemorated the 28th anniversary of the genocide against the Tutsi. April 10th was the day when Tutsi living in the former Nyarugenge commune were being tortured and killed as well before the genocide began. Genocide survivors are asking that a museum be set in the area and that those who have the information about the bodies of the genocide victims that have not yet been found to provide information, because some of them get discovered as infrastructure activities are taking place.
Many soldiers and their families lived here, so they know where the missing bodies of the genocide victims are.
The Deputy Speaker of the Parliament, Honorable Eda Mukabagwiza, says hiding information on where the bodies of genocide victims are hinders the process of unity and reconciliation among Rwandans.
haracyari ikibazo cy'abantu bibitseho amakuru batari kugendana natwe mu by'ukuri niko nabyita.
There is an issue of people hiding information on the bodies of the genocide victims, which means they are not supporting the journey of unity and reconciliation, if I can place it that way, because providing that information helps us to give them a proper burial, as this is part of the healing journey. We are building unity among Rwandans, and the genocide victims have sacrificed so much in order to achieve this unity. They made a very difficult decision towards unity, which one cannot even begin to imagine how they managed to. So if such sacrifices can be made by the victims of the genocide, it is only considerate for those who have the information on the bodies of genocide victims to provide it. Nyarugenge District Executive Administrator Ngabonziza Amy says they are advocating a memorial site to be set up at Camp Kigali. He added that in the case of those who do not provide information on the bodies of the genocide victims, they found a solution for it.
Through the
unity and reconciliation meetings, we have hope that such information will be provided. Secondly, we have another strategy that we are using, which is working hand in hand with churches in Nyarugenge district, so that these churches, along with the unity and reconciliation programs, give hope of progress in the healing process. Many testimonies spoke of genocide victims that were killed here at Camp Kigali. Currently, there is a university at Camp Kigali. In the context of preserving our history, establishing a memorial site there would be a good idea, as suggested by the genocide survivors. We shall work with the concerned authorities for it to be established in a way that is in line with the wishes of the people and the government in terms of preserving the history.
The 28th commemoration of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in Nyarugenge district was preceded by the laying of flowers at the Saint-André Genocide Memorial Site, where various institutions paid their respects to the Tutsi victims who were killed in that area. Genocide survivors in the districts of Gakenke and Nyabihu have been noting on the importance of monuments as a way of passing on the critical information to future generations about the atrocities that were committed here in Rwanda back in 1994.
Innocent Bigirimana is now 39 years old and was a boy when the genocide against the Tutsi was implemented, living in what used to be the commune of Gichie. His entire family of 5 perished at the Mukungwa River. As we tried to cross, Interahamwe militia from Vunga and Mugunga prevented us from doing so. The boys and young men were able to run away to safety, but not the women, girls and little children. The older men too could not get away. Many of my relatives ended up in this river. The babies were smashed against the rocks and then also hurled into the water. Those who could swim were pursued by the Interahamwe along the river bank and spears were hurled at them. A monument with the names of those killed at the spot where Innocent's family was massacred now stands on the river bank as an enduring testament of what happened there. Genocide survivors are calling for more such monuments to be erected and properly maintained so that future generations can learn of the atrocities that were committed during the genocide against the Tutsi, and local leaders have also called for communities to properly care for such monuments. 5 have so far been erected in Nyabihu district at a cost of slightly more than 48 million Rwandan francs.
Celeste Sebajeni Kanyamusoro survived the genocide against the Tutsi when he was just 4 years old, and today runs a daycare center giving toddlers the sort of care he did not get growing up.
Celestine Sebajeni's life as a child was not easy, and the atrocities that claimed the lives of his parents would seek to harm him even after the genocide against the Tutsi had ended.
Nyuma ya jenoside kuko nari umwana byinshi ntabwo mbyibuka.
I do not remember a lot of what happened after the genocide ended because I was just a child, but I do remember that life was very difficult. My parents were dead, and so were many of my relatives and family friends. I went to live with my uncle's family in Mudende sector, but insurgents attacked our home and killed them too. After that, things really took a turn for the worst, but thanks to the support provided by the Genocide Survivors Fund, FARSH, I was able to keep going. After I became older, I became a poet, helping other genocide survivors who were struggling with trauma. Celestine has now also started a daycare center and nursery school and is looking to expand it with a primary school section, striving to give toddlers the sort of care he did not get while he was growing up. He also teaches mothers how to prepare balanced diets for their children as a way of fighting malnutrition, and teaches any adults who are illiterate to read and write. The school has been operational for the last 2 years, and he also has a small bakery. His projects have provided permanent employment for 40 people, 5 of whom are genocide survivors.
In Shogwe sector in Muhanga district lives a man called Karekezi Desire who hid the Tutsi in a hole as they were hunted to be killed in 1994. The survivors note that if there were more people with a heart like Karekezi, the country would not have lost more than 1 million people. Innocent Mugabo reports.
Digging pits is a common thing for the army, whereby they play a vital role in providing cover from enemy fire. Without any army expertise, Karekezi Desire dug a pit to hide the Tutsi during their hunt in 1994, after realizing that their safety was no longer guaranteed. Hiding in his house, the perpetrators had intensified the search. I wasn't using the tank, so I decided to use it in that pit. And after I put 3 trunks on the top and a small path to use whenever I was giving them food and when they needed to bathe. Whenever they would come, they would just see the rubbish I had put on top of the pit and never notice the small path into it. At various times, Karekezi forged relationships with those he was hiding, something he also taught his children in order not to blow their cover and destroy evidence. I taught them that whenever anyone asks where they live, they should say that they are my visitors from Shogwe and related to my brother. It is a hurt that he has had since his childhood, from the history where the Tutsi were persecuted even before 1994. It all started in 1973. We feared that it was happening again. Someone asked me for help to at least remain with all her children, telling me that she was just waiting to die. Late night, using different tricks, Karekezi collected those to hide. What pleases him the most is that his hard work did not go to vain, because 8 of those he hid survived. One of the survivors is Mukanghusi Angelique, who currently lives with an illness caused by the events. The pit was a few meters from his house, whereby he created a small path used to reach food to those he was hiding and whenever they needed to take a bath or fresh air. It was during the rainy season, and in order to conceal evidence, Karekezi used manure to cover the area. Tricks to do with hiding the Tutsi had been adopted by all the members of his family. This was witnessed with how he organized his security for the pit. Like Mukanghusi, those that were young at that time, and among those that were hidden by Karekezi, have now grown up and contributing to the well-being of their families and to the development of the country as a whole. Mukanghusi Angelique shares her gratitude with especially those she hid with at Karekezi's home and is deeply grateful to the RPF in Hotanyi for having stopped the genocide against the Tutsi.
In Nyamasheke district, Mahembe sector, on a hill known as Ichizinga, more than 18,000 Tutsi had taken refuge there during the 1994 genocide that was perpetrated against them. Very few survived, and the survivors are asking that a monument or memorial be built on the hill to preserve what happened there. The Tutsi had fled on the hill, put up a fight trying to protect themselves, killing some of their attackers, but as the weeks dragged on, and many became weak and hungry, the army brought in with heavy military weapons, and the massacres that took place there meant less than 100 of the 18,000 that fled there would survive. Local authorities say a visibility study is currently underway to determine what sort of monument or memorial can be placed there to preserve what happened there for future generations. Moving on, in Shogwe sector in Muhanga, artists in Rwanda have observed that their skills and creations have the potential of showing visitors the truth about Rwanda's past and culture, enabling them to return to their home countries and help to fight those who negate and deny the genocide against the Tutsi. This comes as Rwanda prepares to host the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in June.
Local artists understand that the skills they possess can do more than just create beautiful pieces of art.
We have bigger pieces for the art gallery. So right now, our artists are busy preparing smaller sized sort of art pieces, which are easy to carry for visitors. So they are thinking very hard. You know, they are very creative and they work at night best. So they are thinking of Chogam, they are thinking of kinds of people that are coming, they are thinking of the theme of Chogam, and they are coming up with different art pieces in small sizes. So as soon as we approach, in any case, if the government or the people in charge of the preparation of Chogam approach us, they'll find us ready.
Rwanda has always had a rich culture of art, and today it is seen as yet another tool in the country's economic drive.
I like writing, and I came as a writer. And I didn't know it was possible to find a place like this in Rwanda. It's helped me grow a lot. I do a couple of projects every now and then. And it's also going to help me financially because I've already started earning a bit of money straight from high school. So, and it's garnering me experience that I'll use later on in life.
In the schools of arts and languages, yeah, I would join this creative industry, and I would like to emphasize on on the help I get from here, and to encourage youth to invest in this creative industry too.
In 2016, Africa's artisans industry employed more than 500,000 people and generated revenue amounting to more than $4.2 billion.
Well, there you have it. On behalf of the entire news production team, thank you so much for your company. I'm Jane Mutoni. Bye for now.